Hey everyone, welcome to Love Your Body podcast. On today's episode, we got my man Matt or MJ or how we want to do this.
Matthew,
The
Mr. Grind
Matthew, Mr. Grind
SZN,
season,
MJ don't play. There's a billion nicknames.
like 1,000 nicknames.
Yes,
But if you,
depending on where you met me in life, you'll
yes,
know me from something.
I love it. I love it. He actually started the Grind season, which is a clothing apparel, right, in
Yeah.
2018. And I love this because when you were talking to me about kind of when we had met and everything like that, like I'd already listened to your podcast on other stuff, and so I kind of already knew. But you said that you're from Shelbyville,
Yep. Born and raised.
and so my brother's wife is from Shelbyville, and so
Oh.
their whole family like runs that town. I feel like a little bit. So the Dokes. I don't know if
Oh
you like
yeah,
the Doak
yeah, I know
Funeral
them.
Home. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good friends with
Micah,
them.
the oldest daughter, is my
Ah.
brother's wife. So
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
so they live now on a farm out there, just and I can't even tell you what part of Shelbyville, but like I just drive, I put the maps in, and I just go.
There
So
you go. Yeah, there's not too much you'll miss in Chevyville. It's just like, oh yeah,
right.
in and out and everything else, but there's
S-
a lot to do,
So
but
and
not a lot.
right, and I'm from Murfreesboro, so my brother and her have dated, and got married, whatever, but like since I was like 10. So
Mhm.
literally, we just kept
Uh,
going back and forth.
Okay.
So anyway, so when you said you from Shelbyville and stuff, it's
Uh-huh.
a small town. I'm like, yeah, I know, like
Oh yeah.
Murfreesboro's small, but like Shelbyville is even for those
Oh
listening that
yeah.
are not local, it's even smaller.
Mhm.
So it is, yeah,
Yeah, it's just one of them places. It's like
yeah.
it's easy to get in a lot of trouble, but everybody knows everybody and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I wasn't out here, but
Yeah.
I had a scanner at the house because my dad was a fireman, mom's a nurse, and stuff like
Okay.
that. So I would hear about everybody getting in trouble and stuff like this, and I'm like, I'm just not gonna go out because they'll hear about it before I even get in trouble or anything like that. As
Right.
soon as it called in, like, oh, here go my phone. Yep,
Hmm.
no, mm-mm.
So let me ask you this: well, okay. So how old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay. So you're a little
Mhm.
bit younger. Okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe we didn't. Maybe you weren't riding around crazy when I was going through the
No.
back streets of Shelbyville and stuff. Oh my gosh.
No, I wasn't
Like,
out here. So
okay.
nobody saw me. I was at home. I was playing video games all the time, locked
Okay.
in, just being a whole gamer. Call of Duty was my life, and that was
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I gotcha. And then when did you start? Because the grind season, that is like your passion, like that's your,
Hmm.
the entrepreneurial side. But you also, is it a car wash or what is that
Yes,
detailing?
detailing. Like I
Okay.
got into that high school and stuff like that. Me and my older
Okay.
cousin, Fishback, Tyler Fishback. He
Okay.
does bodybuilding and everything else. He has a show
Okay.
coming up, so I'm
Nice.
gonna be
Which
doing with
one?
him. The Junior Nats in Chattanooga.
Yeah, the one
Mm,
like literally be coming up. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so I'm sponsoring that one,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be
So
there. I'll be there, tap in
okay.
and stuff like
You
that.
can
So
come on my
yeah, oh
table, give
yeah.
people fight
Hey,
samples,
I'm
all the
I'm down for
things.
that. I'm down for
Yeah,
that because it is good. That
yeah.
strawberry. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
strawberry, blueberry.
Strawberry. Yes,
Yes,
definitely
that's what
strawberry.
I just had. No, I
Oh,
love that.
blame. Yes.
But okay, so cool. So, and that's your cousin, you said?
Yeah, my cousin and
Okay.
all that. And it's like me and him, like literally was out at my grandmother's house and everything else. Everybody was over,
Yeah.
and we attempted to wash a car.
Uh-huh.
The one problem was we didn't wash the soap off the cars. So that
I
was the
mean,
first learning
details,
experience.
right?
Yeah,
Like, it's just
yeah,
details. It's
yep.
fine.
I've gotten better at the attention to detail now, but
Okay.
at that time it's just like, all right, whatever. We just did it for fun, trying to
Yeah.
help people out and stuff like that. And then it was like, got to high school, didn't ever really work any real jobs or anything like
Okay.
that. I'm like, I didn't have to worry about stuff. I didn't have to pay for gas, and all
Yeah.
my friends would ask for rides because, hey, yeah, come on, and they would give me gas money. So I'm like, why do I need a job right now? I'm like, I
Right.
got sports and
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else,
yeah.
playing basketball with my
You're
cousin,
pretty
my other
straight with
cousin,
everything.
and everything else. So it was like, I don't have time to work right now.
Mm-hmm.
So went off to college, went to Motlow, and then the next thing I know, it's like my boy that lived next door to me had his own car washing business, and he was
Okay.
running it out of his house. And he was like, one day his cousin didn't come through, and he's like, hey, cuz, you think you can help me wash cars? First day, we washed 15 cars. The
Oh
first day
my
of me, I was like, I
gosh.
had my own car and I kept it clean.
Yeah.
But the first day working with him, we washed 15 cars,
Yeah.
knocked them all out and everything else. And that started to be like my first job. Like the days I would go to school on like Monday or Wednesday, and like
Mm-hmm.
the next semester was like Tuesday, Thursday. But the other days of the week, I'd
Yeah.
be over there washing cars with him. And then I was like, all right, I'm making more money than most of my friends that are working real jobs, working 5 days a week. So
Right.
why work a real job and get
Yeah.
paid under the table, straight cash, and I can do what I want?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that like started it, and then I was like bought rims, got my system, got my car looking right, and
Oh
everything
my
else like
gosh.
him.
Right. Gotta
So it was like it was
represent.
thanking to him because it's like I had a Maxima, he had a Maxima, and we like there's an old picture somewhere I think on my Instagram and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that where it's just like both of us parked head and everything else, rims
I
and
love
everything,
it.
and I bought them off of him, and I even pulled one of his own tricks on him. He
Okay.
would walk up to people and just be like, "Bam!" Like I want them right now. So like it was like close to the end of the summer, like the first year working with him, and I was like, I went to the house and everything. He's like, hold on, I'm about to pay. I'm like, I'll be right back. I need to go grab something from the
Uh-huh.
house. Went and got my money out the shoebox, and I walked over. He paid me the extra bit I needed, and I was just like, go ahead and take them rims off that car and throw them on mine. And sure enough, that day we
Hey.
threw them on my Maxima and
Okay.
everything else, and I got my first set of rims and stuff. And it was just like, that was my little taste into entrepreneurship and stuff like
Yes.
that. And in high school, I was selling phones and phone
Okay.
cases and stuff like that, putting music on people's phones, making CDs. And it's
Right,
like,
right.
I've always been a little hustler like
Yeah.
everybody else over here. And it's like,
Just
it's
getting that
always
extra.
been fun.
Okay. So
So,
at what point did you figure out that you wanted this to be like more than your extra with the grind season?
grind season came later on. Like after washing the cars, that was how I made my money.
Yeah.
After Motlow, I came over to MTSU, and it was
Okay.
like a week before I started school, I had like a new set of rims. I sold the first set for more than I paid for them.
Okay.
Then bought some more. Those would end up being wrong. Got some new ones, and
Mm.
then it was like, all right, I'm out here rolling. Couple years, no problems. Rubber band tires. If anybody knows
Uh-huh.
what rubber band tires are, they're literally maybe that thick and everything else. They're the complete opposite what you want over in this area.
Okay. Okay.
Busted a rim, sold them bad boys, and I was just like, what do I do with all this money that I
Right.
just got just a big stack of money now from selling the
Yeah.
rims? And I was like, I work out a lot. All my friends have been talking about like, hey, we're all
Mhm.
in here working out, because that's when we really started locking in. I have a whole bunch of friends that I still work out to this day and
Yeah.
I tap in with now. It's like my boy Tim. I need to holler at him soon. We're going to start getting me back to deadlifting and stuff. He got me
Okay.
to
Hey, I love a
1
good
year
deadlift.
I went from not deadlifting at all to 600 pounds in 1 year. So
Okay.
it was raw, no belt, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just that's the way I've always been.
Yep.
So we did that, and I'm like, all right, well, I got this money. We were always talking about the grind and stuff like
Yeah.
this, and then we was like slowly just putting stuff on the boards at the Olympus in Chevyville, like. And then it was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna take this money and just start some shirts and stuff like that. I
Right.
know how to use Photoshop. I know how to do these things. I've learned over the years just making random stuff for people and doing stuff,
Mhm.
and it's just like, I'm gonna throw it on a shirt and see how it goes. It's like, it's one thing I can put my money behind. I believe in.
Yeah, and
And
you
do it.
used it like as your own motivation,
Mhm.
essentially, because
Yeah.
you're like, I'm out here grinding, so like,
Mhm.
might as well spread that mission. Okay, I love
Yeah,
that.
so it's like, yeah, a couple shirts here and there. Like,
Yeah.
order my first 50 of them. It's like, I might have like 2 of those shirts left now, something like
Yeah.
that. But it's like, all right, oh well. I'm like, but it made me focus on like, all right, I'm gonna actually get better and get healthy out here. So it's like,
Yes.
all right, let's like really do this. I'm like putting my real money behind it and everything else. And it's just like a slow.
Because for those listening, like for in there are not watching the live video and stuff, like how would you describe like your body? Like if
Um,
you like even before you start getting into movement.
Before,
Mhm.
I was like 340 pounds.
'Kay.
Just, I worked out, but that was about it. It's like
Yeah.
not eating healthy and stuff
Mhm.
like this. And
You're
just,
moving though. You're doing
Mhm.
stuff, sports,
Yeah, I was
things
still
like that.
sports
Yeah.
and all that, and it was like I was trying to like, because I saw my cousin Tyler.
Yeah.
He did the whole transformation before he got into high school, and I was
Yeah.
like, he did it. My mother did it. My mother did it when I
Mm.
was young, and
I
it's like
love
I got
that.
an old picture of her when she was really big, and now she's
Okay.
lost a whole bunch of weight and stuff like that.
That
And she's
oh, that gave
still
me
out here.
chills.
She's
Yeah.
still out here working. I'm about to send her your way and do a class or something like that,
Yes.
But
Aw.
she comes over here and works out with my boy Kelman all the time at Champion Tone and stuff.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
she was one of the big motivations and stuff. And it's like I seeing my cousins and all
That's
them go
awesome.
hard at what they do, and it's like, all
So
right,
everybody
let me,
around you's out here grinding, and you're like,
putting in
okay,
that work, and it
yeah.
was like finally like let me get this all together and stuff. So it's like I
Okay.
slowly did. It's like I'm down to like around 270, 260, somewhere in that
Awesome.
range, give or take, depending on what I'm eating that week and stuff
Yeah, you
like
got
this
the cutoff
now. And
today. You,
yeah,
you
showing
strut-
the
yeah,
guns.
yeah,
Yeah, I
we
hit
both
shoulders
trying
too,
to, like-
so you know I like gotta do it.
I love it. Yeah, I walked in with your gallon of water. I was like, oh, we doing this?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
like
we full life
we-
in now. Like I'm
Exactly.
getting right and everything else. Might have to do a show myself. So
Oh,
it's like
okay.
might as well.
all right.
yeah, like-
You think you ready for that life? You ready for that?
Look, my only problem will be actually just cooking the meals. It's like I can do
Yeah.
everything else. I don't care about the sucking. I've been
Yeah.
through it so much, and just
Mhm.
all the heavy weight and all this stuff, and like I could care less about that part.
Right.
Now it's me just getting in the kitchen. I'm like, if somebody just made all my meals, I could easily do it.
Oh,
That's it.
100%. Yeah, so who gonna make your
yeah,
meals? What you
I
like a
don't
meal
know.
prep company?
I'm like, maybe I might have to holler at my boy Chance at BYT. You know.
Oh, I
I'm
love
like,
Chance. Yeah,
that's
BYT is good.
people.
Yes.
Like,
They're
I met
so
him
great.
early at Olympus too before he lost weight. He used
Yeah, I
to be
didn't
really
even
big
know
too.
that there was an Olympus in Shelbyville. I guess I missed that even happened. So
Mhm.
okay,
So,
and
yeah.
then like that closed, and then the Olympus in Murfreesboro opened, or
Like,
Murfreesboro.
there were several Olympus locations
Okay,
at
got
one
it.
point and stuff like that. So they had the one in Shelbyville, the Murfreesboro
Okay.
ones. And,
But the owner in
like that.
Shelbyville, he then went over to the Murfreesboro one.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was, like,
okay.
whole family stuff and all that. You
Yeah.
know, we ain't gonna get into that. But
Mhm.
it was the hangout spot for a lot of us, and there's
Okay.
a lot of people in Shelbyville that were out here doing training and stuff
Yeah.
like that that's helped me all along this way. And I'm like, now it's time for me to do something. And I'm gonna slowly put them back into content and stuff like that. So they'll see it's like I've done videos for my boy Trey Stewart, and he knows Rook, and I'm just like, oh,
Okay.
it's a small
Cool.
world.
It
Like it's
is.
all
Yes.
relinking together and
Yep.
seeing people, and it's just like, oh yeah, I know him. I'm like, oh really? I'm like, oh yeah.
Right.
So it's like a lot of people that's helped me along the way is like I'm bringing them back into some stuff and stuff like that. And
That's what it's all
he's out
about.
here doing CrossFit now and stuff like that with his boy, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, okay, well let's find a way to like intertwine all these things back
Yes.
together, and it's just like these are the people that's helped me, and I'm like I might as well put
Mhm.
them on. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. So tell me, in terms of like entrepreneurship or everything, what has been the hardest thing you've had to deal with?
Ugh. More, I don't know. To a certain extent, it's like
Mhm.
I've done all these things. I've originally did a YouTube channel. I
Yep.
did that. I've done TikTok and everything else.
Mhm.
Got it blown up until I started following trends, and I was just like, I'm done doing this,
Right.
and that killed it off. But it's like
Yeah.
I've always been on the back end trying to learn how to do these things by myself,
Okay.
tapping in by myself. But it's like now it's just like actually getting content posted.
Okay.
It's like it's not that I don't record it and stuff like this, and it's like people's like, Matt, how'd you know you was gonna lose all this weight? I'm like, I didn't, but
Yeah.
I've always been somebody that's sitting there recording stuff and having memories that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm the same way. All
Hmm.
the same. Like that's why I always tell people, I'm like, no, I've literally, like, this isn't like a new thing. This is back when like no one cared and like no
Hmm.
one was watching, and but that was for me because that's the whole thing is that the journey is for like, or should be for yourself,
Facts.
and that is where I think it gets twisted and gets confused. So when you're looking at that, like in terms of like being an actual like entrepreneur with everything, with like. Are you still in Shelbyville? Are you
Hmm.
okay. So are you like wanting to expand your business to where it's online? Do you want it to be like a storefront? Like we
We got some bigger ideas than that. It's like I
okay.
already have the website and everything else. It's like
Love
most
it.
people think I live over here because I'm over here so much. I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, I drove here to MTSU every day of the
Yes.
week. It's like
Yeah.
it's nothing to me. Growing
Yeah.
up, we always came over here. It's like I had an aunt that was an assistant coach at MTSU, so we would come over here all the time to
Yeah.
watch the women's basketball games. So it's like it's always been something. If we want to go out and eat, we're
Oh,
coming this way. So
for
it's like
sure.
it's
Because you didn't
nothing.
have anywhere to eat in Shelbyville.
No,
like
like after
or
a couple weeks, you eat every place, and it's just like, all right,
yes.
let's go to Murfreesboro and eat somewhere or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's always been like, it's nothing for me to take a quick trip. It's like,
Right.
even when I was with Tyler and stuff, when he did his
Yeah.
podcast and all that, when it was going, I was like, I randomly hit him up, like, hey man, I want to come on. He's like, you want to be a co-host? I'm like, I don't care. I'll drive over here and
Right.
do it and everything else. And it literally happened that day. Like
Yeah.
the next day we did the show and everything else. It's just like, I'll go out of my way for people. I've
I
always
love
been this
that.
way and
Yeah,
stuff
you
like
hit
that.
me up. You're like, I want to be on.
Mhm.
I was like,
Oh,
come on,
like,
like come through then. Like, let's
yeah,
go.
like I'm trying to get out here more and do stuff
Yeah.
and just get seen too. Like to a certain extent, it's like
Yeah.
I like hiding in the background. That's why I like chose the Panther and everything else. You don't see
Right.
it until it attacks.
I love
So
that.
it's one of those things. It's just like, no, I don't. No, I'm just hiding in the background. But I've learned it's like I
Right.
got to be out here more because a lot of people are looking up to
Yes.
me now after they see how much weight I've lost and
Mm-hmm.
done
Set an
all this and
example.
that. Be a good example because it's like everybody in my town really loves me. It's like I don't want to leave Chevyville. I'm
Yeah.
like I can just ride around, don't have to worry about the cops and everything else. It's just like, oh
Yep.
yeah. I even had a cop one time at a gym. He was just like, everybody with big rims and a loud system have drugs in their car, and I was like, I looked at him and got offended. I was like,
Oh yeah.
so you're saying I do? And he was like, wait, that's your car? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
just because I have the car like that does not mean that I
Right.
participate in all these activities. I've always been the person that like everybody's frowned upon or looked down upon these people
Yeah.
because of their past. It's like
Right.
those are some of my biggest influences in life. They've changed me and made me a better person. I learned what not to do and
Right.
why it's not worth doing it and stuff like that.
For sure. And be able to take that negative, turn it into a positive, which
Exactly.
I love. So what in terms of like what you've seen, because I know you came by the booth at the expo and you see
That
Dani D
too.
Fitness and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So what are some things you've picked up or like, I don't know, questions you got, anything for me? Like I know we had talked about that.
I'll say, like, we'll start with this one. It was
Okay.
like weight loss and how people look at me differently. I was like
Mm.
even tapping in with y'all and Joey, like back then they didn't want me. It's
Yeah.
like Mike Jones, hey, that is that
That
song.
was exactly
Yep.
it. Like,
It's like it was like, yes, this has been my life. Because a
yeah.
lot of people look at me differently and stuff like that now. It's just like,
How's that make
yeah.
how does that make you feel?
Like I really didn't notice it until like the start of this year, and it's
Yeah.
like thrown me for a loop. Whereas I was like working on a lot of back end stuff for grind season. I'm
Yeah.
just like right now is not the time.
Right.
And it's just like it's overwhelming to a certain extent and everything else. And people's like, bro, you should appreciate people, coming up to you and saying all these things. And I'm like, I don't like all this. It's just making my
Right.
ego big and stuff like this and get me a little out of pocket. I'm just like, it's not me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was one of those things where, like, because you do take it really personal, because
Mhm.
you're like, dang, like, because you do, on some extent, I mean, you feel like you're the same person, right? And
Mhm.
especially if you've dealt with body dysmorphia or whatever, sometimes you see yourself as the same
Oh yeah.
person. So it's very challenging to be like, oh, okay, yeah, like, so now you have all this attention or these people coming at you, whatever, or double taken when they
Mhm.
never were before. That happened to me today, which was so funny because I was just like, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
it kinda gets you into a spot
Yeah.
where you just don't know how to take it. But I've learned that, yes, with, like, more confidence and how you carry yourself,
It
showing
goes a
out a little
long
bit,
way.
like, that people are more attracted to that. So it's not I don't feel like people will battle me this all day long, but I don't feel like it's just about, okay, the weight loss, but it's just the whole package in itself, right?
Mhm.
And the confidence that you have with that. But how you handle it, I mean, for me, I look at things as like it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like there was somebody that
Mhm.
was messaging me or whatever about saying some stuff about like, oh, for your birthday, like, do you like roses? Do you like Lululemons? I'm like, sir, are you gonna? How about we try to get through talking to me for this week versus
Mhm.
looking at my birthday and like what you're gonna send me and you don't even know me, like you don't even know my address. How you gonna send it
Oh,
to me,
you
right?
got a good
Like,
point. Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's just like it's these lavish things. I'm like, this is irrelevant. Yes, it's
Mhm.
attention, but it's irrelevant attention. Now, if it was more like, hey, I, live here in Nashville and I want to take you out for a nice, meal, or I can meal prep for you, or I can do something with you, just a walk or something like that, I'd be like, okay, let me take that a little bit seriously.
Mhm.
Okay. But again, it's not for me like a ego boost. It's like a wow, someone really like wants to get to know me, right?
Facts.
And then the other stuff with like I've always had like creeps and like
Mhm.
whatever on social media anyway.
Not
And
su
and,
not
and I'm
surprised.
sure you got some thirsty girls or whatever coming at you. But that to me, it's always I've looked at it as like I never needed those affirmations,
Mhm.
and you probably the same way. But like so when they do that and they send it to me, I'm kind of like cool, like that. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like
No,
thanks. Like I know. Like
I know
but
what's
like
going on here. I
well,
know
you know
what you're
what I
trying
mean?
to do.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm also just like, oh, like you're so just like it's crazy, like you're so this and so beautiful, you're so whatever, or like, oh, you're so strong. It's like, yeah, like I
Mhm,
am.
mhm. I put a lot of work in here,
Yeah,
it's like, this is
like
years. I'm like, I'm 10 years into this stuff. I'm like,
yes,
it just now started to click and it all working out. Like, I found what
yes.
works for me.
But like I've been doing this, like yeah, and
Mhm.
so that's where it gets so frustrating because it's just like when people just start to notice and whatever. But I just think it's all about again, it's about the approach with everything. It's
Facts.
just it's like I don't know, and so I don't shoot anybody down. I think a lot of times people too are like, oh, you're so intimidating, you're whatever, and it's like if they're scared to even just come and have a conversation, because I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be rude. I'm
Nah.
never gonna be mean to someone and just be like, why are you looking at me? Like, you know what I mean? Or like, why are you talking to me?
Mhm.
Like, no, that's
Mm.
not who I am. So if they know anything or do a little bit of research or look at a story or two, then they would know that,
Mhm.
you
Yeah, they
know?
actually follow stuff, pay attention, see
Yeah.
things. I'm just like, yes, it's like I move how I move.
Right.
I'll shoot somebody down real quick though. I don't
Right.
no,
So
no,
it's
no, no.
but it's like easy to just like decipher, I guess,
Mhm.
And so I
Yes.
think that sometimes people are like, oh, like especially for me as like a female, like, oh, of course you love the attention. It's like, no, like how you're saying,
No.
I'd rather just like be
Hide
in
the
the gym
darkness.
doing my stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I'd rather just like no and kind of do my thing, work, grind, whatever. Um, because like I have a few comments that'll be said to me, I guess over my journey that really stood out because they were just like very meaningful, very
Mm.
purposeful,
Mhm.
not like about like your work ethic or something like, dang,
Mhm.
like that way you crushed it. Like, thank
Yeah.
you.
There's several
Right?
people, it's like I even had somebody come up to me, he's like, "Man, I hadn't been in here in a long time." I'm like, "Yeah, I've noticed," but he's like, it's like, he's like, "I'm proud of you, bro." He's like, "I can
Yeah.
tell you've lost a lot of weight. You've been being consistent with this stuff and actually
Yeah.
putting the time in and stuff." And he's like, it was like a week, two later, he's like, "Hey man, I want to go ahead and cop a shirt. I see you got a brand and stuff like that." And I'm just like,
Oh,
that means
nice.
more to me than anything and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like
Then
that.
someone
I'm
being
just
like,
like,
oh man, like your muscles
mhm.
just look so big. You're
Yes.
like, I know, but like also
Uh-huh.
thanks.
It's
Like,
like,
yes,
yeah, I know, there's a lot of leg press and
yeah.
everything else that went into this. It's like it's a lot of pain, a lot of
Yes.
pain.
Yeah, and so well, tell me this on, like, on the, male side of things, like, so when this is all happening and everything like that, like, has it been hard for you to see yourself in this new way, or are you kinda like, "Nah, like, I'm here, we in it," like
Yes and no at times.
okay.
Sometimes it's just like overconfidence and everything else, and it gets me in a
Yeah,
little bit of trouble and stuff like that. And then I downplay myself completely,
yeah,
which I've always done because it was like I wasn't ever out here. I wasn't the best looking or anything like that. So I
okay.
was like, never out here, no girls, no nothing, just minding my own
Yeah.
business. Like if you wanted to work out, you could holler at me. That was about it and stuff
Right.
like this. Or I'll just miss all these things and signs and stuff like this, and
Yeah.
never caught on because I'm like I'm out here green as hell. Just that's just me and stuff like that, and I'm just minding my business.
Yeah. I think did you put out something the other day on social media that was like, oh man, it's like when you guys catching a sign or something. That was
Mhm.
the funniest thing I've ever seen because you're not wrong. Someone told me like, Danny, like you have to be so purposeful with it and like say it to them. And I was
Mhm.
like, dude, I thought like me saying this or that or whatever, like going around the corner would make sense. But you have to be like, no, hey,
Mm-mm.
take me on a date, or like, hey, let's go
Mhm.
get food, or like, hey, like, it's just so funny to me but I'm the same way
No.
though. So I don't know why I
Mhm.
thought that like I feel like I'm being painfully obvious, like painfully obvious. And then I'll
Oh yeah.
explain the story to a friend, and they're like, no, like they didn't know that you were asking them out. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, this is so awkward. Like, I hate the whole thing. But I love people that are straightforward and that are just like, hey, this is what it is. Or like better yet with the prep and stuff, like, and you'll know this too if you go through prep and everything, but like I just want somebody to be like, hey, I'm gonna show up at your house. Or like you know what I mean? Or at the gym and be
Right.
like, hey, I sent you some flowers. Like
Yeah, just
cool.
instantly get straight to the point.
But just
Just quit
yes,
beating
because
around the
it's so,
bush.
I can't if you give me an option right now, I don't even know what you're saying. Like I'm literally like 10
Uh-huh.
and a half weeks out and I'm still like I have no idea how I'm gonna sit here at 2 weeks out and you know what I mean? You
You can
know?
push through it. I
I
know
mean, I'm
you
gonna
got
push
it,
through it,
but
but also like it's decision making. It's so crazy
Mhm.
this time around. It's so hard
Oh
for me
yeah.
because I feel like I've been so overly prepared. Like with the shows I'm sponsoring, with and then with like my suits are already ordered, my tans, I mean everything. I've already paid for
Everything. Yep.
everything, and it's
Mhm.
ridiculous. But yeah, so I've gone through all of that. The posing, I got my sessions, everything lined up, literally to the week of. But yet, I can't when someone's like, "Hey, like, do you wanna, like, maybe do this?" I'm like, "A computer glitching." I'm like,
Wait a minute. Hold on.
But
Let me check
but
everything and all that. And it's just like,
seriously.
oh, it's too much. It's overwhelming. And
Yes.
I'm the complete opposite. Like trying to be scheduled out and stuff like this. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'll go with anybody's schedule and just go with the flow. I'm like,
Oh my gosh,
I
no.
don't like having that many things scheduled out. Like
Yeah.
I can do it. It's not a problem. But
Yes.
I rather just be going with the flow, living in the moment, enjoying it.
See, and I
Like,
love that, and I am working on balance with stuff, but it's just so wild because literally, like, I don't know. It's like I look at my whole year and I plan everything out because I mean, there's some things that repeat, right?
mm-hmm.
Like the expo, knowing that I want to sponsor that, and then knowing that like I want to do that. Like there's different, or like I want to be on my friend's podcast, or I want to do maybe setting a goal of like go on someone's once every quarter, or So
Mm-hmm.
as you
Yeah.
get more into the business side of things and like being as an entrepreneur and stuff, it's like for me that is how I have been able to do everything, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, and
Oh
like
yeah.
kind of go around and whatever. But I don't know. It's just funny because I told Tyler, I was like, hey, I said, basically, I was like, look, as entrepreneurs, we all have a lot going on, but we do need to do like a meetup or something. Can we
Mm-hmm.
get something on the calendar so we can plan it, right?
Yes.
This man was like, you just gave me a great idea. Sends to all the ambition group, hey guys, we're gonna do a meetup. Let's all meet up like this Sunday or this Friday or whatever, and like orchestrates it. Well, of course I couldn't go,
Who?
but like, but I'm just sitting here like, yeah, it was a great idea.
This is why my schedule has worked out with Tyler all these years because that's how everything with him has gone.
Yeah.
Even his wedding. I
Yes.
wasn't, he was like, I got there and he's like, I did not know you was gonna be here. He's like, I was gonna hit you up yesterday,
I think
but he's
he
like, I
told
felt
me that.
bad. Yes,
Yeah.
he's like, I would feel bad hitting you up. And I'm like, as I saw him, like, here I am with a camera and everything else, part of the team actually shooting the wedding and stuff like that. Cause I got called in last minute. They was like, hey, so and so got sick. Can you come through? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm here. Boom, boom, boom. Tell me the day's time. I'll be there and everything else. And he just died laughing as soon as he
Yeah.
saw me walk in that room and stuff like. And I was like, you thought I was gonna miss this? I was like, yeah, no, I'm here. And he's
Oh,
like,
and it was beautiful and it was great, but it
mm-hmm.
was just so funny because literally, like, see, that was a whole different weekend for me. I had planned out everything to the T, to my workouts, to the podcast, to everything, so that I could be there. 'Cause I think it was on a Sunday or something, like whatever was inconvenient. Because I basically had to like didn't go back to Nashville the next night. I was like sleeping anyway, anything for
No.
him.
Mm-mm.
But it was just funny that like most of the time when we have met up, it has been impromptu,
Mm-hmm.
and I do love that too.
Every
It's
now and
just
then.
it's yes, every now and then, but when it becomes a constant thing, and that's why it's hard because I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna plan this out," and then if someone bails, I'm like, "Bruh,
Here we go.
no." And I
Mm-hmm.
really try to not do that to other people, just because again, I know everyone's time is valuable and stuff like that. And so I don't know. Again, it's not to say that if somebody wants to hang out or do something that I can't adapt and overcome or whatever.
Mhm.
I just like to have kind of a mindset of like, what are we actually doing here?
Yes.
But what have you seen in terms of like, with your transformation, everything that movement, stuff like that? Like, I guess what has been, do you feel like it has made you like obviously like a stronger person, but like what do you think has been like the biggest like takeaway that you've gotten from it? Like because you're 26, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So what's something that you never thought would happen with this? Because you're like, I've been working out, but then now I'm
Mhm.
eating, I'm seeing the differences. Like what have you kind of gotten from that?
I would say actually like just loving my body in general because
Oh
it's like
yeah?
that was one of the
Yeah?
things. It's like for the longest, I'm like I said when I other posts and stuff, I was like, this was a different type of person right here out there and stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that person was just mad at the world, but the nicest person you would ever meet, and wouldn't say
Yeah.
anything about what I was going through and everything else. But
Yeah.
it was like always being made fun of and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like I just kept all that in and never let any of it out. I'm just like, I would
Mm-hmm.
walk into that gym though, and that'd be it. It was just like
Yeah.
eyes would roll in the back of my head. Don't come talk to Matt now.
Right.
He's going hard. Unless you're trying to go heavy and stuff like that, then you just should stay away from him.
Right.
Like that. But it's like along this, like over the last couple years, it's like, all right, I've started to enjoy it more and just having
Yeah.
fun with it. And it's like getting out of my bubble and everything else. And it was just like with Tyler in general, like me going with the Mission Elite group. I was
Uh-huh.
like, the only reason why I knew about it was because my boy Dave was in a photo shoot randomly. And it was like, oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they good people. I was like, I bet I'll tap in. And then
Yeah.
this next thing I know it, I was doing almost all the pop-ups and stuff because
Yep.
he was too busy doing this and that. And I was just like, F it, I'll get out here. Never once said anything
Right.
about my own business at that point, like anybody, while I was just doing his
Which is
stuff
so awesome.
and stuff
Like,
like that. So it's just like having fun with it. And I was just
yeah.
like, it's really nice getting out here and meeting more people in this that actually have this lifestyle and want to change and help other people change and
Right.
do that. And I was just like, all right, I've really started to enjoy it. And then it's like I actually started losing more weight and all this. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's a blessing.
For sure. For sure.
Yes.
And that's so cool. And I love that you said that, like, you are able to find that love for yourself because, especially in Murfreesboro, I mean, I don't know when. I think it started happening as when I graduated high school, and then I went away for college at UT, and then went to Vermont. And when I came back, the whole bodybuilding scene was not really a thing yet in Murfreesboro. It started like towards the end of my high school, not with me, but like people I saw and knew, and then it just
A little
exploded.
bit.
So there was like a culture shift in
Hmm.
like. Oh, like, because I had insecurities with myself growing up because I was like larger bodied and just looked bigger than all the other girls that I was around, and then also was a dancer stuff like that. So it just never made sense to everyone else. And so I always kind of took what they said and whatever. So it was very frustrating. So when I came back. I'm like, man, like everybody's into health and fitness now, or like, you
Like,
know what I
what's
mean? Like,
going on? Hold
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah.
Wait
Like,
a minute.
and then this bodybuilding thing, it's like, then the more and more, it's just crazy. So it's almost like, but then it just felt like everyone, like as I got stronger and like stepped away and like left and came back more like confident, it was almost
Hmm.
like everyone else kind of got more insecure. You know what I mean? Because of like
Yeah.
that toxic part of the sport,
Hmm.
you know?
Yep.
And so that's why, but here's the thing, I'm up in Vermont on a mountain, there's no competition.
No.
It was just me.
Yep.
Like I ran my first
Exactly.
half marathon down that mountain and back up, and you best believe it took me 3 hours and like 15 minutes. But I did it, no food, like literally, and just no water, and just did it, and was like, man, like I can accomplish anything,
Hmm.
right? So building that confidence and then coming back and kind of looking and seeing like, oh, so y'all really
Yeah.
weren't confident,
They was
right?
making fun of all of us and everything
Right,
else. And
because
it's
we
just
were the
like,
easy target
mm-hmm.
and calling us, not, negative names and stuff like that, whatever. But it's just like, dang, like when you can see it from the outside, and then and I feel like some people didn't really get out to see that, or
Hmm.
were able to step away to see that, or had a transformation like that. So they just kind of like were in it, and like I don't know. So
Hmm.
it's just been a blessing for sure, even though that pain,
Hmm. Yeah, it's
like
like all that stuff I've been through is like it's made me who I am, and it's like
mhm.
there's a reason why I can do this stuff that I do in the gym and stuff like that. And people
Yeah.
are like, how do you do an hour on the stair stepper? I'm just like, well, I show up to the gym with my hoodie
Oh,
and sweatpants
yeah.
on, and I
And
do it
we
on Friday,
you
and I'm
press
just
start.
yep, I press
Yeah.
start and I put in like level 8, and I
Uh-huh.
just keep going until it.
So let's
An
let
hour.
everybody know how many floors you do.
I don't pay attention.
See,
I
this is
don't.
what's crazy. Ruck said the same thing. No, absurd. How you not gonna look at the floors?
because I could care less about that. I'm looking at the time.
So you're
I'm
looking
like,
at the time.
I'm
so it's
doing
like
my,
an hour.
Yep, I'm
and
doing
you're like,
an
and
hour.
then no, a second more. You're like, I'm off.
Yep, an hour in, and I'm just boom. That is it. Like, and once it like heart rate starts going down, I'm not sweating as much. I'm like, all right, time to go up another level. That's it. That is the only thing.
See, men and women are so different, right here. This is the difference. It's the stair stepper. I got a stairmaster in my home gym, right? So I'm on that thing, and you best believe that like with prep, I'm like, okay, I'm only doing this amount of time, and this amount. That's all I can give to it. Whatever. It's like an hour and 5 minutes or whatever, but it's broken up. Well, no, I get on it and I see the floors. I'm like, gotta be even, gotta get it to the, like if I'm like at almost to 200, it's like, if it's like 196, I'm like speeding it up and like get to 200, like, before you can get off. And so that's when people are like, oh, what was your time or what was whatever. I'm like, nah, I don't even care at the time. I am just trying to get those floors. So like today was 350. But it was just funny because I literally was like, nah, 20 minutes past, you're exhausted. Like step off. But it was at like 87. I was like,
I can't do it.
I was like, keep going.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So if you're on the Stairmaster listening to this podcast right now, I say go by the floors. But
I'm just putting
Matt's
time.
gonna say, he's
I
gonna
don't
say
care
time.
that much. I'm just like, I look like the most craziest person in there when I'm on it. Just
same.
hoodie on, stuff like this.
That's why I got one in my own place.
Start dancing and stuff like this, and I'm like, I don't care if you're looking at me. I'm finding a way to keep fighting through this and
that
stuff
was
like that.
Yeah, no. That's 100%. You have to get. Someone's like, what would you do? I'd be so bored. I'm like, I'm looking on Instagram, like it's just going through everybody's reels and stuff, like or I'm thinking about posts, or I'm thinking about like client programming or whatever, like just like there's so much that really like that time is like, I mean, as annoying as it is doing it, like it is like my time to just kind of get my mind right and stuff, because I don't mind just jumping into a workout, but if I can do that first, and that's why I tell people just show up to the gym, get on a piece of cardio equipment. That's what you're most comfortable with, usually a bike or treadmill or whatever. Yeah. And then so that way you get your mind right, even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then get into your workout. Versus a lot of times people walk in and they're just like looking around, they're like, oh, there's no weights in the machines, and they get anxiety, and then they leave. And I'm like, just sit on it, because if you start sweating, you start feeling it, you're like kind of getting your mind right. You'll be like, okay,
get the heart rate going.
Yes, exactly. So I definitely we have a lot of similarities, but we're gonna stick on that difference.
Okay, but I enjoy doing it on Friday because it's like, new album out or something like that, and I'll just listen to a whole album or something like that, and all this, and it's just like, all right, I'll just tap in and Then by the time I'm done, I'm like, I know this whole album and stuff like this, and people's just like, how do you know all this music? And I'm like, well, let's see.
Yeah,
come do this stair stepper with me and everything else. And I'm just like, I'm fully zoned into the music and listening to what this person is talking about and everything else. And it's just like, they're building out a whole story. It's like, why not?
Well, and that's the same with the podcast. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, if people can, like, I recorded the last podcast on my Stairmaster. So I'm like, going through or whatever and doing that. And that was very therapeutic. But it's just like people... there's been times where Logan and Joe have got me through my cardio. And that's where it's like, it's so crazy because the bodybuilding journey is so lonely, but yet I feel very supported.
Yes. I get that.
Right?
1000%. Yes.
So, and then my mom was like, well, are you like going to do another one of these shows? Because I'm just like dragging right now. And, and I'm like, I don't know, because I want to, but I also... it is like a double-edged sword, because then I'm like, well, would you be like, if you weren't in prep, would you be doing anything else? Probably not anyway.
No. But...
Right. But but the option to, right? So it's just like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Because, I mean, it's like me. It's like I have no prep, no nothing. It's like I've lost weight. I'm at a point where I enjoy being at. But it's just like I still go 5 days a week just in the gym, locked in and stuff like this. And
people think that you're not going to do that. I'm like, I'm the proof that, like, I did that the whole off season. Like, what off season?
What is off season?
Who got an off season? They didn't tell me.
No, I don't know
they
what that is.
Didn't tell me shit.
I'll take time off. I took a week off, and I'm like, what do people do in the mornings from this time to this time? And I'm just like, I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, tried to sleep. Yeah. I'm like, no, can't do that anymore. And it's like, I'll clean everything. And I'm just like, all right, I got everything ready, scheduled out for Instagram and everything else for my business. And I'm just like, just sitting here bored. I'm just like, I got to go to the gym. It's like, maybe I almost go crazy.
Well, that's the thing too, is that's why I always am talking about like movement. People say like, movement is medicine or whatever, but okay, but like movement has saved my life time and time again. Dang. It is the one thing that I literally can look at when people fail me, or I fail myself, or something happens, that it does not talk back to me. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I've been injured and had to go through that, but that was like my body, right? But in terms of movement, it's like it's there. Like the weights are there, the stairs are there. I just have to show up to it,
Yep.
right? And it's one of those things where it is like, I don't know. I just always say that it's like it makes me my best self, and I don't know how to explain that to somebody like that truly like that is not in that journey yet. You know, because it sounds crazy to them. They're like, oh, like working out, like, oh, you didn't take any time off, you know, whatever. It's like, and even with my stuff, they're like, well, did you do X, Y, Z? And I'm like, no, because I'm trying to rebuild a metabolic rate that was, you know, trashed as growing up on diets. You know, I'm trying to build as much lean muscle mass as I can, you know, eat as well as I can, you know, do all these things to set myself up for success.
Yes.
And
it's
that
long game.
Yes. And that is what it is. And so it's one of those where that's where I'm looking at. It's like me at 35, me at the 40, like all of that. And I want to, you know, be able to still lift heavy, still do these things, and have an able body. So that's why when people are like, how you feeling or whatever, I'm like, as long as I'm mentally good and physically good, like, you know, because with the prep, like, because if one of those is imbalanced,
yeah.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, because that week off, that threw a lot of things off for me, and I'm just like, oh, I need to get in the gym now. And I'm like, and then I got back in the gym, and I'm just like, am I getting anxious and stuff like this? I'm like, I've never dealt with this since like high school and stuff like this. And I'm like, I'm ready to go home. I don't even finish my workouts. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, no.
Well, and I think a lot of people too are like, oh, are your workouts like, you know, 3 hours or this or I'm like, no, like, and that's the thing too. I'm efficient, and that's how I do my online programming for clients. That's how I do my sessions with them. Like, we in it. Like, I'm not just trying to like wind up the time with it, right? Now, if I go work out with like the guys or do something, whatever, then we're just like messing around and it's forever, right? And I would love to do even more of those. You know, we kind of did that around Christmas time and stuff, but like even just being like, hey, let's all meet up and just like lift together. Like that would be fun. But I don't want to orchestrate it. Like, so if anybody else wants to do it, I can't do it right now. I need somebody else. Like Tyler and them are eating like waffles and chicken and stuff at freaking wherever they were at for their meetup. Okay, well, some of us are not going to be doing that.
No.
So could we do like a movement thing and do like a little photo shoot?
Yeah, have some fun. Yeah, you know, do other things.
Paddleboarding, I don't know. Like, but it's something on those lines. Like, but that's just where I wish that there was more like that community stuff. And
I get that.
You know, because I mean, the expo was fun. I'm sure you got to go to every booth and like talk to people and whatever. And like, it would have been cool to do that without running a booth. Like,
oh yeah, I would have loved to not have a. I mean, it might as well have been I didn't have a booth because most of the time I was literally just walking around. And people were like, "Who's at your booth?" And I'm like, nobody. If somebody takes something, they take it. But I don't care.
Right.
I just don't care. I'm going around seeing all my friends and seeing everybody else that I've met over the last couple of years, and I just did that most of the time. Like, I could care less about selling shirts and all this stuff and all that. I'm just like, I'm here to have a good time, see all my people.
And I'm glad you did it because I know you had been thinking about it, going back and forth and things like that. And so, so that was really cool to see. And I think that it's a good, you know, testimony to anyone that's listening that is like, I'm not big enough yet. Well, I'm not, you know, barbell voodoo, or I'm not ambitious or whatever. Like, why should I be there? Like, how can I be there? And there's other t-shirt brands or whatever. Yeah. So it's like differentiating yourself, doing, you know what I mean? Like being
it gave me a whole bunch of new ideas and stuff like that I can do next time and stuff like that. Because it's like people have the same size booth as me, and I'm like, oh, you got all that in here? Okay, all right. Wait a minute, I know somebody can do something like this. I can do that, and I'm like, okay, well, that gives me ideas.
And
it
makes you excited and and makes you feel creative and like
back the juices flowing for the creativity. And I'm just like, let me get back out here.
No, that's how I felt too. I mean, doing Move Fit on stage that morning about killed me, but doing that and doing
I came through to watch. That was about it. I told you,
what?
I'm enjoying my rest day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, come on, do some squats, come jump with us, do whatever.
Nope. My body was hurting.
I feel that though. I had said the same thing. Somebody was like, "Come do this challenge, just whatever." And there's a stripper pole, and I had to like do a thing on there, whatever.
Yes,
but like that's fine. That was all I did. But I was just like, I'm not doing anything because it was my rest day too. So it was a lot. So let's talk real quick about boundaries in a sense. What have you found? You know, do you feel like you found good boundaries? Do you feel like because you were kind of like not introverted, but like more to yourself anyway for a while there with your healthy lifestyle journey, that like how have you been able to do it?
Well, yes, it's like I'm very introverted but extroverted. It's like once I get with my boys and we go out and everything else, it's like who is this guy? Where did he come from? And everything
Yes.
else. It's like we took a trip to Knoxville, and I'm just like the quiet person the whole time. And it's just like, I've never been here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
My boy Dave just looked at me and he said, "You're not ready for this." And I was just like, I took that to heart. And that was like, all right, I'm watching out for everything. And it was just an experience. And by the end of the trip, everybody's like, bro, everybody wants to see you, talk to you, want to get to know you and stuff. They're like, you're just like all over the place. I'm like, yeah, that's just me in general, though. I'm like, I'm all over the place. I'll have a good time and everything else. But I'll instantly look like the security guard in any club in 2 seconds flat, like, he's too drunk. Yeah, cut him off.
Yeah.
He might be a problem. I'm watching him and everything else. And we had a situation there and everything else, and we ended up coming up with a song with that, but that's a long story for another day.
Oh my gosh,
it's so priceless. It's like me and the HUC boys, we had us a good time, and some dude was way too drunk, went into the women's bathroom, and we weren't having that. Like, we don't play those games, like, bro, come on. And that was a whole situation because my cousin was supposed to be in like Miami the next week, and I had to come grab him real quick. And he's like, "Oh, I thought I was going to see God. I got grabbed up out of nowhere." And I'm like, "It was me. I made sure I got you out of there before security showed up because I was not about to have a police report of you going to jail and everything else a week before going to a Miami tryout."
So do you feel like, because you're kind of having to take care of people and stuff like that, when you're in settings like that, like besides movement, what kind of fills your cup up? Like what helps you like love yourself more? Like how you were talking about before.
It's like just seeing people do their own things most of the time, like going out, taking that risk and doing what they want to do in life. Like seeing my friends that does real estate and all of that. I was like, I was there. He wanted me to do it with him. And I'm like, I should have hopped in because it was right before COVID and everything else. And I'm like, I could have so much more money right now. And I here living my best life. But I'm like, that's not for me. But I'm like so proud seeing him grow and do what he does. And it's like seeing my cousin who's like, he went to college, did his first couple of years, like it didn't work out like he wanted to. He was about to go like to Georgetown and stuff. Didn't get the ACT score he needed, and like it was upsetting because it's like I've always looked at being a business person. I was going to school to run his business. That was the main idea back in high school and stuff. And it's like that didn't work out. Ended up going overseas to play. COVID happened. That threw a wrench in the plans because they wanted him to stay like 3 years, so only 3 visits home. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work. He does all this, so now he's doing training and now a coach out at a middle school and stuff like this. So it's like seeing people just like, I ain't gonna worry about working a normal job and do all this. It's like I'm gonna do my own thing. So it's like I'm always hanging out with people like that, and it's like my boy Dave doing music and everything else, and works in Nashville, and my boy Henry, a photographer, does weddings and stuff like this. So seeing these people out here doing their own thing is like what drives me,
motivates
me going
you,
and stuff like that. So it's just like, okay, I can do this. And it's like we'll link up. We used to link up at the start of COVID like every Monday night, and it was like that would fuel the week. And then it's like, I could take on the whole world. I've been up all night. I don't care. But like Tuesday morning, just fully ready to go and just knock out everything and anything.
I love that. Okay, that's awesome. So what's something that you would, I guess, I don't know, what's something that you are like looking forward to, I guess, the most right now? Like, is it summertime? Is it just like still getting your goals? Like, do you have like more physical goals? Do you have any strength goals? Like anything like that? Is it just all business? We grinding? Like, what's the deal?
Yes, I have several of those. It's like I hadn't really wrote most of them out. I'm just bad at that. Real bad at it.
That's okay.
But it's like I'm going to try to hit all my old PRs now that I've lost all this weight. It's like I want to deadlift over 600 pounds.
Still see where your strength's at.
And get that strength back and stuff like that. Bench as much as I did and all these things. Like I'm going to do that first. Yeah. And then next year possibly do a whole show and everything else. Because like I know of several people doing them and stuff like that. I'm definitely tapping in with all of y'all first. Yeah. But it's just like those are the main things. And it's like I got a lot of things lined up for grind season. It's just like, all right, now let's finally go ahead and take these opportunities and stuff like that, because it's like right now I'm recording reels for my church and I got blessed with a camera to use.
I love that. Okay.
And it's like it's the camera I wanted to buy, and I'm just like, all right, I'm taking full advantage of this right now while I can.
What
I asked them to do
church is it?
Believers Faith. It's in Christiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's like me and my cousin go there and stuff like that. We've been going there for the last couple of years and it's grown a lot. But it's like
I love that.
I got blessed with the opportunity to do that, so I've been working on some stuff behind the scenes for them, and it's just like, all right, I'm gonna take full advantage of this. And then it's like one cousin's doing a show, the other one's doing basketball, and then it's like I got a couple other ones, and it's like I got one that plays in the NBA, and it's like I want to do stuff with him, and it's like I got all these people that came out of this small town of Shavyville, and I'm about to start linking up with them and put them in content and putting them on stuff, and it's just like I'm about to show you somebody from this very small town can do stuff on a larger scale than anybody's ever seen. It's just like, oh yeah, just wait. I'm like, well, I'm waiting for the timing to right, and the time is starting to get right.
I love that. Like, that's awesome. So you are a planner. You are planning. You know.
Yes, but like none of this is written down anywhere. So if it was just
But again, what I've always been told, sometimes people can look at my business on the outside, and be like, or I'll talk about my business and they'll be like, well, that's like that's chaos, and I'm like, it's organized chaos though.
Controlled
Like
chaos.
there's
That's where I work best
That's
at.
exactly right. So like you may not understand, we can't even really explain it to other people, but like as long as you know the plan, you're trusting in what God's plan is for you, like there's nothing else. So there's nothing better. I love that. Well, very cool. So before we finish up, any last questions you have for me that you've wanted to know, or that you want to know about prep, or?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's like we'll tap in behind the scenes on that. I like keeping some things in the dark, not too much information.
So when you slide into the DMs and you're like. Like what we were
you
just
said that,
talking about.
I will.
Oh my gosh, no, you can always ask me anything or any help you need with, in terms of, I know entrepreneurial life can be frustrating or sometimes, and it can feel overwhelming, or even with like the prep and stuff, like, because it is important for, I want, men to know too that like it is like good for you guys to talk about like loving yourself and not be like in it's gonna be like, because I don't know if you feel like this, but like as you've lost weight, like now it's seen as cocky, but like you could have maybe loved yourself at heavier, but it was seen as like, oh, that's sweet. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like you can love
flipped. Some things have flipped and everything else, and it's like I gotta get used to it.
Change. Yeah, no. But that shouldn't change how like you see yourself. Like it's like I love myself at my heaviest and at my lightest and whatever and all everything in between. So like just because someone else's perception or how they take it changed doesn't mean like I have to adhere to that.
Facts. And like, it's like I said on Joe's and everything else, it's like you will hear me coming before you see me. And I'm like, the system's only gonna get louder, the car's only gonna get nicer and stuff like this. And it's like, this is my dreams as a kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna slowly keep working on them and stuff like that. You can hate it. It might piss off neighbors and set off car alarms, but I'm like, I'm gonna get to that point.
Okay. I love it. Well, you're manifesting it right now. So tell the people where they can follow you and see everything you got going on.
Alrighty, if you want to follow me personally, it's IamJIV on Instagram or the Grind SZN, TheGrindSZN as well, and that's the website too, thegrindszn.com.
And they can order stuff right now. You got stuff
dropping? we got stuff coming soon, and like I'm getting some stuff lined up. Like this shirt right here will probably drop this summer. I got another one, the Champions Gold that I dropped, a little giveaway last year that'll probably come out officially this year and stuff like that. So. We got a lot in the works and everything else. I just got to actually put the work in.
Hey, that's it right there. That's the missing piece that I think a lot of people forget.
Oh yeah, people forget that. I'm just like, let me get back at it. And I'm like, last year I was like, I just easily got stuck in it, and I was just go, and now I'm like, all right, I got to find that person again.
Yes, for sure, which you will, and I'm excited to see all the things you got going on. So, all right, guys, until next time.